lecture in our museum, and for wanting to listen to the story of Giulia. Before I come to her, I want to point out to you, but I think most of you know, sorry I have to point out there, that this beautiful museum is open every Wednesday at 1:30 until 5. So if you want to look around, just come by and ask questions. There's mostly somebody here to
Your
to
excellent
answer them.
tour guide here.
Yes,
In
there.
English, Dutch, and
yeah.
there you go.
So warmly invited to join us. Well, then we start with the introduction of Giulia. Giulia is a lecturer researcher in the soil biology group at Wageningen University. She did her PhD at the SBL group in collaboration with an organic agriculture institute in Switzerland, where she worked for 3 years, and then she moved back to the soil biology group to continue with her work on soil. Her interest, teaching and work focuses on the role of soil biota in soil processes and functions, and in monitoring the effect of agricultural practices and land use management on soils. She has worked mainly in agricultural systems within and outside Europe, from arables and perennials to agroforestry, and her work during these years ignited her interest in the role of agriculture in the broader economic and societal context, and in the importance of soil literacy, outreach, and multidisciplinary projects and collaborations. Since March 2020, she therefore started to work more and more with outreach, and from March 2024 she is also the outreach supporter of the World Soil Science Cluster, and in this role she is carrying out a variety of activities with various stakeholders and have collaborations with different disciplines that are aimed to bring various people closer to soil, with the final aim to increase soil care and soil health. And she will tell you more about it herself.
Yes. Thank you, Erika, for the presentation. Yeah, she said everything I wanted to say. No, but I'm just gonna go a bit more in depth into these different activities that I do today. So yeah, well, as Erika mentioned, I'm part of this amazing group, the soil biology group. And I'm a lecturer, researcher, and outreach supporter also for the soil science cluster. If you don't know what is the cluster, this is the combination of the 4 different chair groups that work on soil within the university. So geography, chemistry, biology, and physics. And I'm trying to, to increase the capacity of these different groups to reach the outside world. But so basically, what I did in the past, I did my PhD about soil quality, soil health indicators, so trying to understand how different management practices affect soil, and in particular soil biology and the relationship with soil physics and soil chemistry and soil functions in general. So I first started actually to work a lot in the lab. So my relationship with soil was, a bit virtual. I come from Milano, a big city. I never been a lot outside. And then I started to work a lot in the lab with soil that came from all over Europe. And then in my postdoc, which I also did here after being in Switzerland, I started to go more and more in the field, sampling earthworms, sampling organisms, looking at the soil, even with Stefan, also in other countries. And more, I really started to really be connected with the soil and soil biology. And of course, when we look at soil, very often people just see dirt or see nothing. But in the soil, there are a lot of different organisms. We have macrofauna, the ones that we can see. We have mesofauna. We can maybe see them if we look very close, but sometimes we look better with a microscope. And then we have the microfauna and microorganisms where we really need to go and study them under a microscope or with other methods. Do you know some of these groups? Like, for example, if I ask you, what is this? I mean, we have a lot of people here that study soil, but I mean, no judgment if you don't know. What is this? It's a protist, it's a ciliate. Yeah, it's a protozoa, yeah. And let's say this one. No, this is an enchytrade. It's very similar to nematodes, but they're much bigger, and functionally they're much more closer to earthworms. Okay, well, I actually ask you the most difficult ones. Maybe, okay, this one? Millipede. Yeah, a millipede. Of course, but I mean, you don't, many people actually don't know what are these organisms, and actually the big variety of organisms that we find in soils. And many people are actually afraid of them. But of course, these organisms are beautiful, I think, and I think that the more you study them, the more you understand how beautiful they are, but they're also very important for functioning of soil. They cycle nutrients, they decompose, they fix nitrogen, they help plants to defend against organisms, against pests, pathogens. And this is just a little video that I'm going to play later that shows a bit this functioning. I'm just be a bit patient, and then I'm going to show it. So basically what we see is soils is full of life, and we know that soils are different. So different soils, as we can see here, like there is a huge variety of soil, they sustain a lot of different organisms. So different habitats will sustain different type of organisms. And what happens is that these different soils also sustains different ecosystems, agroecosystems, forest, savanna, a lot of different type of ecosystems. And how we manage these ecosystems will have an impact on physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. So basically, this is what I really think that are key messages, or with the idea. So with the time, I really understood that these are very basic points that it's very important to pass to people. And with the variety of activities, what I'm trying to do is this, to pass that soils are alive, they are different, they are not the same, they're not all the same, they are beautiful, they have different functions, there are different processes that happen in them, and we can manage them. I mean, we can have an impact on them. I mean, I don't want to stress the anthropocentric view of like we need to manage them, but more being aware that what do we do on soil will have an impact on different characteristics, including the biota, which is actually the base of soil functioning. So basically what happened when I started to go more and more in the outreach part is that, you know, I really noticed that, well, we know more and more about soils, like also in terms like scientifically, of course, there is still a lot to know, but we know more and more about them, but they are still degrading. So the rate of soil degradation is actually increasing. And what we saw is the need to communicate fundamental messages, the ones that I just mentioned to you about soil, to people. And that not only scientists, but also in general people might have a limited relationship with soil. And I'm also talking about scientists. So we want to increase the way in which people can discover different ways of experiencing soils in order to facilitate a positive transformations of how do we do soil science and how do people relate and care about soil. So for this reason, I started more and more, and now it's basically a snowball, to do a lot of different activities that try to bridge science and society. For example, doing events during conferences, scientific conference, to open eyes to scientists about the fact that we can connect to soils in various ways, artistic, with senses. Going into the city to present soil and these activities to people, to normal people that might not know anything about soil. Do courses also for PhDs on how to transform soil science. Go and do experiences with kids, various activities with kids, painting, earthworm catching, and go to farms and talk there with farmers and people on the farm and do activities where they can discover and connect more to soil. And here it's really about also connecting with art. So using artistic approaches to pass these fundamental messages, and maybe even more, of course, that we want to pass about soil science. And basically today, what I want to do is to give a bit of an impression to you of what some of the activities that we do. So we will go to different stations, and I will just introduce a bit some of these elements: art, pigments, sediments, beauty, senses, music, citizen science, context, animation, activism, impression, maps, poetry, theater, games. So these are just some of the things that we do, and I would just like to give you a taste, but maybe we can start. So the first station where we are gonna go is actually the one about the beauty of soil organisms, and it's just right here behind you. But first, I want to show a very beautiful video from Wim van Egmond. This was done in collaboration with an artist and people in the soil biology group. And basically here, this is a time lapse of 15 weeks of soils that have been incubated without soil fauna and with soil fauna, so including isopods, earthworms, collengola, mites, and here only microorganisms. What do you see?
They're eating the leaves,
Yeah.
breaking them down, bringing them into the soil.
Yeah.
Making the pores look that cool.
Yeah, and what is this doing to the soil? Yeah, and what happens, or what's the difference between this and this one? Yeah, so basically, it's clearly shown here that with the fauna activity, the composition goes much faster because the fauna helps the microorganisms. Well, first of all, they fragment the litter, they put it in lower layers, and they help the microorganism to decompose those fragmented layers. So you can see here the soil animals really in action, and while in the other. So, and this is also an example now of how, so this actually was exposed in a, so this is one only with the fungi and bacteria, so the composition is still going on, but much slower, and just carried out, just by few components of the food web. So this was very nicely shown during an exhibition in London in April. It was amazing. It was like really displayed in a very big screen, and people were just, amazed to see these activities that they usually cannot see. So this is one of the examples, and maybe, if you like to stand up. One of the ways we engage with people, it's actually to make them see what they usually don't see. So one of the things that we do, for example, is to go in places with a microscope. Now we don't have it just for organizational reasons. Go and look at soil organisms under the microscope, or also making expositions of beautiful pictures that we take, for example, when we do research in soil biology. So these already we did various times, also in combination with different events. And these really, make people more thinking and reflecting about, okay, well, soils are alive. Of course, there is also the part that we can see, and actually we also work with a citizen science initiative, which is called Bodemdieren Dagen. And this is all about citizens, kids, but also adults, going in their gardens and recognizing in their garden the tiny 10s, so the 10 organisms that is possible to recognize. Here there is a little key, and then people can actually upload the results on a website, and soon we will also start to analyze the data. But it's a nice way also to empower people to, start first to go into their garden and start to also get acquainted with this organism that very often, especially kids, find disgusting. Actually, not only kids. A lot of people find them disgusting. Yes?
How do you reach out to, for example, people, because are the people reaching out to you?
Yeah, so this is also, this is in collaboration with NEO, and this is going on since 10 years. So it's really like spreading a lot. I mean, there are the animal days in September, October, and then there is a big opening, and we also sometimes work with them. But then they really try to go to festivals. So the last weekend we were at Artis during a festival, doing this with kids and giving them a kit to go to look in their garden or also around Artis looking for animals. We had a little terrarium where kids could dig in and could look at animals. So it's really also, a lot of publicity, a lot of try to engage people.
And you have the Worm Charming Championship.
Yes, so this is another thing in our group, in the soil biology group. We also, we organize yearly the Earthworm Charming Championship, but that's a bit, so I like it. I'm also registered. I really like it. But I think that remains quite a lot in the academic area, but we also do such type of activities also for kids.
Yeah,
For
it's great.
example, the Weekend of Science. We are usually organizing also a little Earth Home Charming. Of course, yeah, we need to take care that kids don't destroy all the organisms, because that's sometimes what happens. They just... but I think also activities like this can also be done not only for kids, also for adults, actually. We also have an Earth Home hotel in the soil biology group. Actually, yeah, the whole soil cluster, we manage an Earth Home hotel that is used as a source of earth homes for our research, but also a place where we can put earth homes when we are done with our research, but also really an outreach hub. So a lot of people, like during courses, artists that come to visit, people that are interested, we bring them there and we talk about the diversity of earth homes that are hosted in the hotel, because in each of the room we have different type of earth homes, and in order to get them there, we need to manage the soil in a particular way, because different species of earth homes will need different things in terms of nutrition, in terms of disturbance, in terms of cover. So this is a bit,
I like the name
yeah.
of the hotel.
Yes, so the California, California, yes. Yes, okay, I think we need to move to the next stand if there are not, questions. So another way, this I don't need anymore. Another way we engage with people, of course, is, and we need to make a bit of space here, is through art. So we started a few years ago, actually some colleagues of mine from the soil biology group, they started to paint with soils, because of course, as you know, as you might know, there is also a part here, soils have different colors. And this is due to the type of minerals are present in the soil, amount of organic matter, the moisture. Erika gave us yesterday a very nice presentation about it. But basically we use, what do we do? And we do it with kids, but also with adults. Like for example, yesterday we just did a very nice workshop where we were painting with soil and also using collage. And this is also a way we use really to try to let people connect to soil in a more unusual way, you know? And yesterday we also got some very nice feedback of people really telling us how much they were really, with this exercise sounds maybe a bit, low-key or maybe not like super elaborated, but this is also a very nice activity that make people start to touch soil, start to think about the different colors, the texture. If you use different texture, you will have different sensation on your drawing. And also yesterday we experimented a bit for the first time, indeed, to use this combination of collage and painting. So we are still, more and more experimenting with these activities. But this is something that, we do during festivals, during workshops, during courses. So we are trying to see also where are the places and with which people we can do these type of things. But yesterday I really kind of understood, for example, that I think, for adults this is also really great. And for kids as well.
Kirsten Kurtz, my colleague at Cornell, it's very big, huge paintings with groups. She'll do some herself with all the natural colors, but also groups will get together and do it. And then they have a self-expression, because usually graduate students will get together and make one of these paintings.
Yeah. So. No, that's very nice, and you can really use it and tailor it to the specific activity you have for the group you have. And of course, I mean, these things that I'm mentioning, we didn't invent. There are various people that are, using these approaches, and I think, this is very nice. But we don't only do art and push or help people do art, but we also started to work a lot with artists. So recently, actually, there is an exhibition going on in Impulse in the context of the Art Meets Science program, where we collaborated with a visual artist. And we had a dialogue conversation with her. We invited her in our labs. So she came here, actually. She took a lot of inspiration also from the work here from the museum. We talk about organism, we talk about what we do. She brought her to her atelier, and she made a series of painting, and this is just an example, also recreating kind of like profiles and kind of like giving her tweak to what she was hearing and what she was understanding from our discussions. So this you can actually find in the soil, in the impulse. But after this, we actually started more and more also to merge with art. So we went with a couple of scientists also to give a talk in the Art Academy in Den Haag. And there we met a lot of artists, and then we started to collaborate with them, and we invited them during conferences to present their work. For example, here, Elena Kurtova, also Stefan knows her. We invited her to the Wageningen Soil Conference, and she was there presenting her work. We also invited Masharu, which also Stefan knows very well. She was also here. Of course, we do also quite some things in collaboration with the museum, because we have this very common interest, that is flowering more and more. Yeah. So of course, different artists have a different approach. We also have another artist, Christine, that looks more at sound and soils. We had, like, here's a group of artists that actually came to the university to interview a group of earthworm experts. And now they have a series of earthworm talks that they also bring to schools. And then they have the kids answering to this conversation that they had with experts. So they basically brought to the experts the questions that kids had about earthworms. And then they made like an art piece about this, of course. Still things in developments. And also here collaborated with an artist that was looking at the bulb industry. But the thing is, and here also collaboration with an artist, with two artists, Kate Foster and Pantea, that are working on peatlands, and they also came here to the museum as well as artists in residence. So this is also a bit of a snowball, you know. I really find that the more you work with artists and the more you find the time, they will contact and they will look for experts and they will look for possible collaborations. But I find this very, very inspiring, because I think that art really can bring messages to people that we would not reach, and also in very unusual ways. For example, also now we have collaboration with an artist which probably will make an installation in close to Den Bosch for 5 years about soil organisms, and we are collaborating with her, like trying to together say, like, okay, which are interesting organism, what do we want to tell about them? So I'm not going to say more because I want to spoil the but it's really something that's coming more and more. And if you want to follow me, we go to another station now, but in the meanwhile I can still tell you, because I think that one important thing for me also you can follow me really. One very important thing for me in all this is really to also have in mind now what is your message, right? So this diversity of soil, to make people understand soils are diverse, soils are alive. We can care about, so if we care about soil, we can have a good influence on them. And I think that this museum also should give, well, it gives, at least to me, these sensations. So soils are different. Soil can be impacted by men, can be impacted by the climate, by parent material. And this is, with this, so maybe you can come here. Sorry, with this in mind, I wanted just to show you, like, well, actually let you hear. So maybe if we can put the lights a bit down. So this is another artistic project that we did in collaboration with an artist here from Wageningen. It's called Remco de Klausenaar. And basically, he came to us. We had discussions together. And basically, we tried to, together, to create a story that he basically translated into a musical piece. And actually, there are 5 musical pieces that all of them tell a story about soil organism, about their behavior, about how beautiful they are, about how important are they in functions, about how soil management can affect them. And we even brought the piece to the, well, first of all, the piece was yeah, we did a very big event in one of the church in Wageningen, where during the Bodemdierendagen, so the Citizen Science Initiative opening, we played the symphony. We made an exhibition full of pictures, and in the end of the symphony, we went to look for soil animals. So it was a nice combination of various activities, also with different organizations, was very nice. And we also brought it to the Dutch Design Week. That was also very nice. But now I'm gonna let you hear something, a little piece. Okay, for sake of time, I cannot let you hear more, and there are also other pieces. But so I don't know if you notice, but in this piece, so this is, well, if you want to share something.
No, I just want to know what animal that was supposed to be.
So the thing is that, I mean, I think it's a bit difficult. So I was a bit doubting, shall I ask them, but I thought maybe I just tell you, what is it? So I don't know if you noticed, but so in the beginning, there was a lot of different instruments, very vivid. And then something happened, very dramatic music, right? This everybody heard. And then later, after this dramatic music stopped, there was the music again, but less vivid, less instrument. So this was wanted to represent the action of a plow that comes in a arable field, full of organisms, full of life. Various instruments represent various organisms, or earthworms, colembola, fungi. And then after the plow, so the a bit dramatic music, less organisms are there because they are damaged by the mechanic action of the plow. So this is just an example. There were other pieces that were more just about, you know, a fungus growing in a forest and creating a fruiting body. There was another piece that was more about a grassland and an earthworms going up and down and pooping in the soil, making casts and making nutrients available, and then water coming, and then bacteria feeding on the poop of the earthworms and benefiting from the moisture. But so this is just an example of like how we are trying, and I mean, it's still a process. I don't say, yeah, this is perfect and this is the ultimate thing, but that we want to pass these small messages, small but important messages to people. And there were more than 250 people present. Of course, it was in Wageningen, so maybe many people, colleagues, many people that know about soil. But I'm sure there were people that didn't know anything about soil, and maybe they were really touched and they were really reached. So the aim also is to maybe bring this to other places and do other activities. Yeah.
If I can add something from in the Curaçao project, we work with an eco-artist, eco-acoustic.
Yeah.
And then it's a bit similar, but he measures with, you know, you've seen the
Marcus Meder,
So he amplifies sounds from the soil, but it's quite similar. So he compares organic or farming with traditional farming, and the sounds in the soil are much lower in one than the other. And then you can even explain some of the sounds, like an ant that is trapped in a...
So that's a very, so that's also a very nice bridge to the fact that, you know, soils actually can be experienced with different senses. So this is I think, in a way, on a edge of senses and art, in a way, right? But actually, soils can be perceived, can be sensed. there are various artists that are nowadays working with sound, and also in some of our activities we try to connect with sound, connect with with taste.
Just maybe for everyone, there's a very nice website called Sounds for Soil or
Sounding Soils.
Soils
Sounding Soils.
You have them a lot from Zurich. You have different fields.
That's from Marcus Meader.
It's also from
Yeah,
Marcus.
yeah.
Have a look at that one. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And so creating relationship through touching, through listening, through smelling, through tasting. We think, and I think also the crew from the museum that is more and more also using these approaches, we really think that it's a very powerful tool to connect people and soils.
Have you thought about walking?
Walking, yes, I thought about it.
Because you feel on the softer background, either it's really soft or there's hard gravel. I mean, you've actually experienced only the surface layer, but you're really experiencing something if you are conscious as you go across different soil types.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice. I also wanted once to do an installation, with like a very, maybe it's too extreme, I don't know, but a very polluted soil with a lot of plastic. And one that is very nice, and also like tell, okay, how do you feel about, walking on a soil that is polluted with plastic or?
I was just thinking of awareness. If you have a little trail of existing soils, and you with a lot of contrast, what do you feel? What do you feel here?
Yeah.
You talk about making people feel connected. So
very nice.
Connect to the senses.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
walk barefoot
through
grassland, it's a different sense than when
we
you
know
walk
that,
with
but
shoes.
you're not made aware of it. You
Exactly.
are you aware of what you are feeling now? So that'd be interesting.
No, definitely. Cool. Nice. But just also for sake of time, I mean, this is actually my last position, station.
Buddhist prayer flags.
Right, huh? Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. No, but so I could continue talking for a lot, but so these are poems about soils, and like what we are also trying to do is to create connections also through feelings and through emotions and through memories, that people can connect to soils in other ways. That also includes this more subjective feeling. These are also kind of activities that we try to do, but we also try to do this, and I think it's something that is also needed with scientists. We are currently developing, we already did one. We did a course about transformative soil science, where we really try to make people, so soil scientists and people that work on soil, maybe from other perspective, to really start to think, okay, but why do I study soil, and how do I study soil, and how do I relate to soil? Why? And in this way also trying to make a bit more of an impact with the science they do. And I think that some of these experiences, I mean, these are kind of related. I'm trying to relating, but I think everything is related. We also try to do it with students. So this is a serious game that we use with students, but also, with farmers. I also use it once in Suriname with a group of people that work on soil from various perspectives, that really talks about soil biota, the abiotic and abiotic components of soils, that talk about the management, the processes, how managements affect processes, and what kind of solutions can we find together in order to counteract some of the negative effect of soil management on soil processes. So this is, there are a lot of nowadays serious games, so-called serious games, gamification, and this is also one of the approaches that, that can be used also in, various settings, also in the more academic one. So this is the Living Soil Workshop, and is also, it's also nowadays becoming quite popular, and also involved in another literacy project I'm involved with. But if we, I mean, I would have couple more slides, but I think I can also say it here. So working on this has been definitely very, very inspiring. And the nice thing is also that it connects people. and it creates connections. And of course, all of this that I showed you was also just a small part, but I think quite representative of what we do. Would have not have been possible with a lot of work from different people, collaborations with social scientists, collaborations with other soil scientists from different disciplines. So it's also about making time and taking time to work with different people to reach better society, to increase our own relationship with soil, and maybe help in a way to counteract soil degradation. Because in the end, I mean, as a scientist, most of us are a bit frustrated sometimes. We work so much on soil, we know so much, but still soils are getting degraded. So I think that education and connections is a key. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Okay. I don't know if you have more questions, or thank you for inviting me and for coming here. Very nice.
We have a reflection also, because I find it amazing all the work that you've been doing inside of also in your research. So I'm just, for you guys, this you manage, because it takes a lot of time, and I imagine it's also less on the paper. We started to value a lot, because you see the influence and impact compared to papers. But I'm just wondering, reflection about how you balance all these different aspects.
Yeah, so this was a bit, this part of my reflection, the later reflection, that when I mentioned like take time and make time, I mean, it takes a lot of time to do these things, and I think, I really like it for a variety of reasons. So I really believe that, this is important, but I also really miss the more, humanistic part from my scientific work. So I'm very happy to bring in art and society with what I do. So it's so I do a lot in my spare time, and I don't have a family yet, so I can do. But what I'm trying to do lately is to make sure that the things I do also bring me something, and I'm also trying to think, how can I measure the impact of what I do? So so it's also more everything in development. For example, we are writing. So yesterday, for example, I submitted like a little piece for with other colleagues that work with me on this, for writing an essay, and maybe we can write an essay on what we are doing, and then maybe that's already something that you can put on paper. But it's also sometimes a bit frustrating.
I think the impact is long term, though. You have to realize if you start a spark in somebody, that can last a long time. If they've never thought that soils would be different over the landscape, and now as they're going across the landscape, they're constantly thinking. You put that in, and you don't have to measure the impact like now. It's really hard to measure that, but you've done something. The awareness goes for a long time, maybe. So.
Yeah, I mean, for example, yesterday, we had this workshop. There were few people. I was very frustrated because I put a lot of work for very few people. But one of these people told me, I didn't know soils were important. Like that, I was like, okay, well, I did my job. You remember, like yesterday was amazing. There were 4 people in the workshop. I was like, come on, I did this for, and then that people say that, and I was like, wow. We managed to make sure that one person said, because she actually asked the question, but why soils are important? What's the point? Why you're doing this? Because she was not in the field, and already. So maybe you're right, but I'm trying more and more to see, like, how we can do this. I'm also trying to post a lot on social media about all the activities we do, so that people know that we are doing this. And I get a lot of very good feedback. I go to conferences to present what we do. The other day, a professor in societal change from Germany, we had a meeting, and she was amazed by what we do, and maybe they want to collaborate. So it's also like, let's see what comes.
Maybe another point of reflection, if that's possible. But what I was thinking, if you take about soil care, soil health, people, soils, that the issue of human nutrition would come, especially with your background, where you're coming from. I mean, you know the importance of soils and the influence of good soils on the taste of food and things like that. And that kind of sensation in a human being, and also as being an impact indicator on people. A carrot grown in this type of soil and a carrot, and you can taste the difference. I mean, that can also be a strong
I never
additional
thought about
actor,
it.
besides opening the box of Pandora of what is in the soil and things like that, but also the care and the health aspects.
Yeah.
It goes a bit further than just, let's say, educating what's in that black box.
Yeah, so I completely agree, and I never really thought about it so much, but a bit what we want to do is also, because that would still be much related to production, and we also want to go a bit, but it's still about, getting something out for humans. So I think also what we do is also in a way trying to go a bit beyond like what humans can do useful or can have from soil, but it's very...
Degradation. I mean, you mentioned that as your biggest frustration.
Yeah, but
that's the interaction.
yeah, but
people
but soils are not only degrade. I mean, it's not that the degradation is affecting only productivity. I mean, it's that's a big part. No, but I think yours is a very nice point. Definitely, yeah, nice. Maybe we can do something with it also for the people of the museum. Maybe.
Well, you have your soil cluster here apparently. Get some people from the nutrition department.
The cluster, no, not
It's
really.
It was mentioned always by people that know about wine, but it's not scientifically proven. But there are several PhDers working on that now, and it's not so easy. The thing is that some wine will grow very well in poor soil because they need some stress. So I think that direct relation between soil quality and flavor is maybe not be so obvious, and it may be difficult to prove.
That's high quality for use.
But I want to ask you, Giulia.
Yes.
First of all, you mentioned degradation a lot, and I know that, and because it's also not in proposals, but I always like to emphasize what people do good with soils. That's true. Good practices instead of course, there are many examples of degradation. But my question to you is actually, you mentioned that you grew up in Milan, not in a very green environment, and that for your first research was in the lab, and then when you went out, you got more enthusiastic about it. So when was the real moment that you really got engaged or, let's say, enthusiastic about soils? Was that when you really went more out, or was it already before that? Do you have a memory of that? When was your first real connection to soils?
No, I think it was more a process for me. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was really more a process. If I think about it, it's really more like this idea of, also, the more, for me, it's also more, the more I work with it, the more, and it's maybe even a bit boring thing, or like not so inspiring. And sometimes I'm even ashamed, that I don't. Well, maybe I should not say it, but I don't have a garden myself that I, and. But I think that I also made peace with that, thanks to other people.
You're a great advocate.
But
you put a lot of time in it.
Let's see. And of course here I'm very open for collaborations, ideas, so you can find me on my email address, giulia.bongiorno@vur.nl, and I hope I will also collaborate more with some museums. We do very much, a lot of things in common, and we have a lot of interests, and to remember, yes, easy, yes.
And this morning I said Giulia Bongiorno, and she answered with Bongiorno saying good morning.
Yeah, of course.
It's like who's on first.
Yeah.